me, Geordie Pete Redding, on a Saturday. Welcome wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Facebook group. Welcome to YouTube. Welcome to our TFA community. Now, as Phil Lynott once famously sang, the boys are back in town. It's a massive welcome back to the busiest man on the planet, Kevin Campbell. But before we start, I want to give a special mention to a young man that you'll resonate with, Kev. We had a guest on last night called Oscar Adora, and he's the CEO of Humanity Aid, and he's helping all sorts of tragic cases of poverty in Kenya. So a big shout out to Oscar and thank him for last night. Kev, what have you been up to, apart from working 24 hours a day?
Well, listen, there's a few projects that I'm working on. One of them is obviously, as you know, the charity side, and that's been taking up a lot of the time. You try and fit everything in before the season starts, and look, here I am, Pete. I've got everything virtually done, and I'm back.
Get in.
I've
Great
missed
stuff.
You all.
We've missed you too. Morning, George. Football season is upon us.
Indeed, it feels like it hasn't gone away because the Euros was a great bridge, and it feels like the Euros ended yesterday almost, you know?
Yeah.
So it's been, it's like been a whole year of football, which is fantastic.
You're not going to argue with that, are you?
No, hold on. Let's see. Hold on. I can hear my missus. It's okay. It's great.
You've got dents in the sofa because you've been on it all year. Okay, listen, Kev, we're going to kick off. Apart from the obvious, what's gone wrong at Barcelona? Because you're very close to the Liga. You do a lot of work there. I'm hearing this morning that Aguero, he's only been there 2 minutes. He wants out as well. Is it from the top?
Yeah, the decisions have been made, and it's an accumulation, Pete. You know, look, they've been a massively successful club, and they've been run. They get run through elections. And what tends to happen is they overspend, because to overspend, you've got to outdo the next person. So, you know, different presidents have overspent it over the years, and to be honest, they've been putting their hat where they can't reach it. To be honest, Pete, and it's come back to bite them, and ultimately, the main man of Barcelona is Lionel Messi over the last, 10, 12, 15 years. He's been the main guy. And now he wants to stay, and they can't afford to keep him, even at 50% reduction.
Yeah, it would ruin the club, apparently. Quick mention to Davy G, good pal of mine. Messi to Newcastle. He said, I'm sure I saw him in Wetherspoons last night. I'm sure you did. George, what's your take on it?
Hold on. It was Messi in Wetherspoons, not saw Messi in Wetherspoons.
George, you're a massive fan of the Spanish football. What's your take as a fan?
Listen, I think it's very sad, but in some respects, it's very healthy. You know, clubs cannot spend beyond their means. The whole La Liga, the individual clubs have to be self-sustainable. But the trouble is, you get into the dialogue where you have clubs like Manchester City, PSG, Chelsea, who seemingly have unlimited cash because of their owners, and then that becomes an unfair playing field.
Yeah.
I remember it wasn't that many years ago that Real Madrid had a financial issue, and the local government took care of it. They can't do that now, right? In the same way, the local government could not take care of Barcelona now. So it's sad, but I think it's a wake-up call. It's a good wake-up call, but you just want an approach that's even for everybody. And it's a bad day for Barcelona. Unfortunately, it's another great day for PSG and the likes of Manchester City.
Can
I just say, reality is kicked in Spain. reality has. Real Madrid, you look at Real Madrid, normally they're buying Galacticos. They don't buy anybody. But third season now, they haven't bought a Galactico or anything. There's rumor that, they might be able, because they haven't spent no money in the transfer window, they might be able to do a deal to try and prize Mbappe or whatever. But this is the harsh reality. This is why they wanted to be a Super League.
That's right.
Because they wanted to be able to leverage so they can keep the Messis and do the Galactico thing.
And they still do. And they still do. Barcelona, Real Madrid and Juve, 3 clubs are maintaining they wish to proceed with the European Super League. We know why now, right? It's very clear.
Yep, they need to. Quick interjection. Barry's on from the Dub Pistols, fresh from his performance last night, I think, he won't be fresh, but morning, lads. Kev, get your predictions up so I can go to the bookies and bet on the other team.
hey, I tell you what, is he available? Is he got his? I hope he's got his results in.
He's not taking part this week.
Yeah, no, of course he's not, because he's a one-hit wonder. He wins one and runs away. You see,
listen, we'll get on to that, but George is carrying the championship from last weekend. So
please.
Anyway, listen, we'll get on to that. I want to say I've got to ask Kev, and I'll come to you, George, as a Spurs fan. Harry Kane this morning, he said, "I'm not apologising for anything." He said, "I'm coming to training on Saturday." But the season starts in 6 days. Surely you should be ahead, way ahead of that.
Pete, listen. Here's what we do know. There's been internal wranglings with Levy and Harry Kane and Harry Kane's team. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Harry Kane, in his own head now, deserves a little extended break. Right? Yep. Because of the Euros, etc. He went on holiday, went on a break. And the fact of the matter is, Harry Kane's been lied to. Let's just lay it out on the table. Harry Kane has been lied to. So Harry Kane has decided, I'm coming in on Saturday. Now, the club have gone against Harry Kane and made him out to look bad, when really they're reneging on the handshake or agreement, gentleman's agreement that they had in the past.
Sneaky PR.
Yeah.
George, as a fan, what do you think?
It's a very difficult situation. The 2 words that Harry Kane used that I thought were very interesting was, "I'm returning to training as planned." Those 2 words, as planned. The implication that Harry Kane gave was that it was agreed beforehand that today would be the first day he would be back. I think Harry Kane's agent has been immature. I don't think he's an experienced agent. That's the first observation. I think Manchester City should be more professional and say he's a Spurs player, no comment, as opposed to Pep saying, "We want Harry Kane, it's up to Tottenham. If they want to negotiate, we will try." I think that's out of order. And I think Spurs are also out of order.
Pep's got a history of that.
Yeah, he has. But if there's confusion between a club and a player, it's both people's fault. It's never just one's, right? So Spurs have to be accountable for that too. Now, I think it's pretty clear that Daniel Levy wants to keep Harry Kane, which delights Spurs fans. And if he does stay, he's an absolute professional, and he'll do great. He will do fabulous. But clearly, as Kevin says, Pete, there's something that's not right. There's something not right.
It's a bit Toon-like. Listen, we've got to talk about the rise of Jack Grealish. I'll come to you first, Kev. An interesting statistic I was looking at this morning is that City, they move the ball quickly. Grealish tends to let it stick to his feet, so it's going to give them another dimension, isn't it?
Yep, it is. And I think this is one of the transfers that many of the teams who were looking to challenge Manchester City dread. Because with Jack Grealish, he won't have to do half the work that he does at Villa on the way back, because they dominate the ball so much. So a lot of his work and energy is going to be really on the offensive part, taking people on. He's going to have a lot of 1v1s. He's devastating, and it's just the rich get richer.
Can I play devil's advocate with him? What if he imbalances the team?
How?
If he does his own, he does his own thing.
Listen,
they're very
listen.
Grealish
is, in my opinion, the most exciting English midfield player that exists.
Okay.
And I think it's exciting for Grealish. It's exciting for City, but you know, as Barry just said, it's the Harry Enfield, unlimited cash for City, and it's not an even playing field, that's for sure. And if they get Kane as well, you just might as well finish the season immediately.
Pack it in. What I will say is stats are unbelievable. Speaking of stats, it's a welcome return for this man.
Hello, it's Jordan Scatto, Dave Huggin here from Sydney, Australia, with my new lockdown haircut. Now, it's a Community Shield weekend, so the curtain raiser to the English Premier League season. And it's Manchester City, the champions, versus Leicester City, the FA Cup holders. When I think of the Community Shield, I always think of the 92 version. Leeds United beat Liverpool 4-3 in a classic. Eric Cantona, the star in that game. Last time Leicester win the Community Shield final, they played against Man United 5 years ago. Lost 2-1. I think it might be a similar score this weekend, with Man City beating Leicester 2-1 and showing what they can do. And maybe we'll see Jack Grealish wearing City's colours for the first time. Anyway, enjoy the game, and back to Pete.
Always great to see Dave. Knows his stuff, doesn't he? I think we're going to invite him on next week and just he can play in the predictions, because he seems to be doing pretty well by himself. I just want to go back to Harry Kane. George, is there any possibility of Spurs keeping him?
I think there is. Levy does not wish to sell Harry Kane to another Premier League club. I think that will be tested if there's a ridiculous offer. Manchester City know that. I think the onus is on Man City to make a ridiculous offer. Yeah. If there's no ridiculous offer coming, Man City just should be quiet and Harry Kane stays. I don't think Harry Kane would go to Chelsea. Maybe he'd go to Man U. It appears that Harry Kane has no interest in leaving England. So I think it's either Man City come up with a silly offer that's too good to refuse, or everyone should just calm down and not say much, and he stays at Spurs.
Okay. Kev, one for you from Ryan. Great to have Ryan on board. Kev, I've stopped expecting anything now with Everton. I'm 40 years of age now, with just one FA Cup in 95. I was only 5 or 6 when the Blue Boys were the team of the 80s. Finishing 9th is an improvement.
Look, it's a tough one for Everton, because they always seem to be playing catch up. And when you're playing catch up, and you start to lose managers and you start to lose your better players, etc. It's very difficult. But I think in Rafa Benitez, they've got a safe pair of hands. He knows the Premier League. He knows players. He will develop players. And they've been smart how they've worked in the transfer market. I think they've recruited pretty well so far. I think with a few weeks to go, they might need a few more players. But listen, I'm optimistic. With 8 games to go last season, Everton could have finished in the Champions League spot. Yep,
I thought they were great.
Yeah, and that's been having an up and down season. Their home form was terrible, but the 12th man's going to be there at Goodison Park next week, and it's going to make a big difference, I think.
Gladys Street End, right? Great to have Tony Manuel, massive Toon fan. Speaking of signings, there's only one club in the Premier League hasn't signed anyone. Have a guess who that is?
You got to get that. You got to get the boy from Arsenal, right? Come on. Go.
We don't know. Some people are saying the deal's been done. Some people are saying Arteta, he's not in his plans. But from what I hear, there's been no contact. So, and then people were saying last night that Willock was on his way up to Tyneside to sign. It's just typical Newcastle circus merry-go-round.
Pete,
Kev, what's
you
your
will,
thoughts?
you will. Listen, I think Arsenal have accepted the bid, and it was down to the player. And I mean, look, let's be honest. He made such a difference to Newcastle last season.
7-7.
7-7 to keep you up. That was incredible. One thing is he fits in with whatever Steve Bruce is doing up there. He fits in. They've got to recruit him, whether it's on loan or permanent. I think he'll go on a permanent because he wants to play.
And listen,
I think
with Willock in the team, the back end of the last season, the last 5, 6, 7 games, Newcastle's form was a top eight or top 7, I think, standard, right?
The other option they've got, Kev, is that they put him on loan for the season to allow the finance, because I think it's 25 million. So if they can pay in chunks while he's on loan, and then when his loan ends,
that seems to be, with the pandemic, that seems to be a more common approach now. I noticed with interest that the two players that Spurs bought, Cristiano Romero, the centre half, and the Italian goalie, they're both loans with loan to buys.
Yeah.
And the buying happens at the beginning of next season, I think. I think they're looking to get some revenues in. So that seems to be a common approach amongst clubs now and players.
That's the box clever. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. A bit of a fun section. I was watching Chelsea Spurs, and I love listening to the crowd because the crowd's back, obviously. But some of the hilarious chants. This is a family show, so I can't really give the song the Chelsea end was singing. But George, it was along the lines of, they were asking where Harry Kane was. I think you can probably fill in the blanks. And it was funny, and it got me thinking. And I'll come to Kev because I want to know, do the players hear them? But as a fan of being at Newcastle, my two favourite chants were Habib Bey to the tune of Happy Days. So it was Sunday, Monday, Habib Bey. And he loved that as a player when he was warming up. The second one is an Irish player, and I won't name him because I'm friends on Facebook with his daughter, but they used to chant Zico at him. And he actually believed it. We used to chant Zico because he was that bad. And he thought that he had a radio interview and told the interviewer, he said, I'm so popular there, they call me Zico. George, have you got any standout Spurs songs?
Listen, we've got over the years, we've got a couple of a few positive ones which I like to focus on. Clearly, right? But there are some negative ones. There's no doubt. I mean, there are some players who are just not fan favourites, and this is common amongst all. I one of the famous songs I remember was actually a good friend of mine who's a West Ham fan. They used to sing a song about poor Bobby Zamora. It's every club. Most clubs historically have one or two players that the fans do not fall in love with, and they can be very creative.
Fans are cruel, aren't they?
I just want to focus on the positive songs, like Hoddle, Born is the King of White Hart Lane. Before that, it was Gilzine, right? Many songs like that, but there are many negative ones, and it does get to players. They hear it, they feel it.
Do they, Kev? Do you hear it?
Of course you do. I mean,
do you tune out though?
No, when the game's going on, you don't hear it. But for restarts or throw-ins or whatever, obviously the crowd know that when there's a break, that's when they hit you with it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but it's brilliant. Do you know what, Pete?
Drives you on.
I absolutely love the banter with the fans, etc. I think it's absolutely brilliant. At the old West Ham's Upton Park used to be always a special one.
Fantastic.
Because they're so close to the pitch, etc. And they're always cheeky with it. I had a couple of good ones at Millwall as well. Let me tell you, Pete, which I can't repeat on here.
No, I bet.
Being a South London boy, but it was all in good fun, mate.
Yeah. Listen, Neo's on. We've neglected to mention Aston Villa. Predict them to finish in the top 6. They've signed world-class players in Bay and Ings. Ings is right under that radar. What a great signing for them.
Yeah, I really like the way Aston Villa are going about their business.
Yeah.
There's good investment. There's early investment. Good players. They're going for it. They're positive. I like the way they play football. I hope they do finish in the top 6. I think that's a good example to many other clubs, and fair play to them. And I will say, everybody says, "Hey, Jack Grealish has gone to City." I'll tell you, that's a heartbreaking decision, even for Grealish, because he's such a Villa boy through and through. But it's a tough one for Villa fans, and it's to lose the best English midfield player is a tough one. But I wish them well.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll finish in the top 6.
No.
It's going to take them time. Look, Danny Ings is a good player, but his injury record isn't the greatest. Bailey's a really, really good player, but it's going to take him a bit of time to get used to the Premier League, etc. I think, when your talisman leaves your football club, no matter who comes in, the club's weaker.
Yeah.
Buendia is a good player, but it's going to be. I think it's going to be they're going to be okay, but I think it's still going to be a tough season for Villa.
Yeah,
it'll be a tough season for the two. But the good news, trying to be positive, as per George's vibe, is that Super Allen signed a 2-year extension to his contract, which is good news.
Ujira.
No, I wish he'd still get a game now. Mad Allen saved Maxton.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. But you see, again, just the fact remains that he's injured. He's out. He's not going to be playing against West Ham. Callum Wilson's not going to be playing against West Ham.
Wilson's out too.
Yeah, Wilson's out as well. Joe Linton's injured. So I think that I might be getting on a plane. I might get a start, Kev.
Get Big Al in for one game. Big Al.
And also an opportunity for Newcastle, because West Ham are in a little bit of turmoil. There's massive takeover talk that affects the club, doesn't it?
Well, do you know what? A lot of the time it can affect, but it won't affect. David Moyes is running that ship right. They're going to be a handful for you, Newcastle, Pete. But you guys have got a good record against Newcastle, so it's going to be a tight one next week.
Yeah. I agree. David Moyes, top manager, should have been manager of the year last year, as I keep saying. Newcastle, they just need to have a relatively injury-free year. If they don't, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly.
Calu's on, staying on Villa. Hi, Kev, Geordie and George. I believe Villa have done some good business this summer, but I believe they should have gone for Tammy Abraham, who already has history with them. Would he work with Ings, or do you think it's one or the other?
I think they won't go for Tammy solely because they've got not only Danny Ings, but who's the other lad they've got up there is Watkins. I think Watkins is a really good player.
And they spent a good bit of money on him.
Yeah, spent a good bit of money, but Tammy wants to go somewhere and play. Listen, I want Tammy to come to Arsenal.
Yeah,
I'm deadly serious because he's big, he's physical. He is something that Arsenal do not have. Arsenal could put 30 odd crosses in the box, and we don't get on the end of one. It makes no sense.
Yeah, Tammy Abrahams caught my eye back in the day when he was on loan to Swansea. At Swansea, and he was fabulous for Swansea. And you just feel that he needs, I think he's a very good player, and he could become a much better player still, right? He needs regular game time, and I think it'd be a great fit for Arsenal. I think that's a very good call.
He needs a bit of love. That's what he needs.
That's exactly.
He got in at Chelsea under Lampard. Then, obviously, once the manager changed, he was top scorer for most of last season.
Yeah.
And then he gets ousted. He needs a bit of love. You give him a bit of love and he'll fly.
Yeah. Chelsea are asking 40 million for him. Is that right?
Yeah, so they say. I think they reduced it to 30. I mean, I tell you what, 30 million for an England international, 23, 24 years old, snap their hand off.
You were saying that last season, Kev. Ronnie's with us. Lovely to have him. Kevin, he says he's putting you on the spot, mind. Where do you think Arsenal will finish this season?
I think Arsenal question. No, I think Arsenal have to finish in the top 6. They have to. They've got no European games to break the season up. They've got none of that, so they can plan. They could scheme in the week. They could train properly in the week. for the weekend's game. So there's no excuses. Arsenal have to finish. I'd love them to challenge for the top 4, but you know what? I think we're going to discuss transfers and stuff after, Pete.
Yeah.
Listen, Princess Guna made the observation last week, like you did, Kev, that there are no distractions, no European games, no Thursday, Sundays, which always are annoying. I like the way they bought some players. Ben White is a very good buy. I think Arsenal will get another one. There's talk of Maddison, who's a big Arsenal fan, going to Arsenal.
He'd be an amazing sign.
Should that happen, it'd be very interesting. He's got 3 years left on his contract at Leicester, so let's see if that happens or not. But I don't see Arsenal top 4. They could be 5th or 6th, absolutely. You just don't know. Absolutely could.
We're going to come back to all the fans because we've got to interrupt and come back to one of our regular sections. It's the Gentleman's Baller of the Week. I'm going to start with you, George.
I'm going to give it to the Women's Canada team.
Okay.
They won the gold medal. They beat America, the favourites, in the semi-final. They beat Sweden in the final. They deserve it. They were not the favourites. America were the favourites. I'm going to give it to the Canadians women's Olympic team. Well done. Great
Fantastic.
effort.
That's a good shout, George. That was a good shout. I've got them down. I also got Jack Grealish down because boyhood Villa fan, but put a big number in his contract, and Manchester City met it, and he's gone. But you know what? I'm giving it to Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi has left Barcelona, didn't want to leave, tried everything he could to stay at the football club, but the numbers just couldn't work because Barcelona are in so much debt. So I'm going to give him the Baller of the Week solely because of the history that he leaves with and the legacy he's left.
Yeah,
great shout, Kev. You're right. It's time. We're going to look at both your teams. I'll leave mine out of it because obviously we're not going to be buying anyone. Ins and outs at Arsenal. I mean, if Willock goes, that means Arteta's got a plan, hasn't he?
Look, I think Arteta's got a plan. He's got to have a plan. He's got a plan, and it has to be a ruthless plan, Pete.
Yeah.
Look, Joe Willock is a capable footballer. He's with talent. One problem is he doesn't quite fit in with what Arteta's doing, I believe. So what you've got to do, you've got to move and shake. He's done well at Newcastle, 25 million on the table. We've seen it happen with Arsenal before where Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Wolves would have taken him for 20, 25 million last summer. Didn't go anywhere. Now they can't get rid of him. You know, there's a load of players they can't get rid of. So to get 25 million, and you look at Maddison, I mean, there's quite a few players who Arsenal could go for. Maddison's a bit pricey at 60, 70 million. But, you know, you look at Aouar, you look at Basuma, there's a few players who they could go for.
What kind of players do you think Arsenal need, Kev?
Well, look, I still believe they need a central combative midfielder like a Basuma. Yeah. Someone who's got the energy to go box to box, someone who's great at putting their foot in, who can break stuff up and could score a goal, because that's one thing Arsenal don't have. Anybody who scores goals from midfield, the likes of Aouar and Maddison carry that bit of craft, that threat, not just by goal scoring, but can pick a pass. That's what Arsenal need, because they've got players up front, but they just don't have the engine room at the moment. And that's what they need to fix. We also need another keeper, and we need a right back, Pete. So, you know, believe you me, there's a lot of things Arsenal need to address, but it's that centre of the pitch that is the most important.
So it's very interesting. Spurs is very similar. They signed a very good goalie. There's rumours now.
He's going to be number one, right?
Who knows? But he's a very good goalie. But there's qualified rumours now. But Spurs going to sign a right back, the Japanese fellow.
Okay.
Just like Kevin says about Arsenal, Spurs need more goals from midfield. You take Kane and Son out, and we're in trouble, right? Yeah. So it's very similar. They're very similar. I think there's a big clear out going on at Spurs because that's overdue. It's overhang from the Pochettino days. Lamella's gone. Alderweireld's gone. Sissoko looks like he's going. There'll be a few more, I think.
Okay.
And I think it's a bigger rebuild at Spurs on a per capita basis compared to Arsenal. And because Arteta has been there longer and he's had a plan forever, and he buys his players carefully, I think Arsenal are probably ahead of the game compared to Spurs at this point.
Okay. Listen, I've got to interrupt. Ashuri's been on. Jory, Pete, George and Kevin. I hope to give a gift to Ronnie. It's our 6th year anniversary today. Can you give us a shout out? If that's okay. Of course it's okay. It's my gift for him. We would appreciate it. Well, 6 years. Congratulations to you both.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
That's made the show.
Ronnie and Ashuri, happy anniversary.
Absolutely. Pete, but can I just finish up on Spurs?
Yeah,
I
of
think
course.
it's a very impressive signing, the centre half from Atlanta. It's a very impressive signing. And I think there's a lot of excitement about that because
it was a changing of the guard, wasn't it? I mean, there's no doubt your previous, but they were coming to the end of their careers.
Yeah. And Spurs need centre backs. You know, sometimes players at clubs, it doesn't work out. Sanchez, I believe fundamentally is a very good player, but he hasn't been good for Spurs. And I just think it's situational. He'll go to Sevilla or La Liga team, and you watch, he'll be great. That's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, right? It's the beautiful game, you know?
Listen, Kev, I wanted to ask you about a player that you've currently got who, when he signed, I was thinking, wow, he's going to absolutely batter everyone. But Thomas Partey, what's the fans' thoughts on him?
No, Thomas Partey's top class. He's world class. Listen, it was a bad challenge that injured him.
Yeah.
He's never been injured really in Spain. Comes to England and he's had more injuries than Jacob's got clubs. It's crazy, you know. But Pete, he is the key to Arsenal improving this season.
Okay,
because he's so good.
Look, I've always maintained he was a very good buy. Respectfully, Kev, I don't think he's world class, but I think he's a really good player. And I find it frustrating that some Arsenal fans expected miracles from the man in his first season. That's crazy.
True.
It's the Premier League. You need to see settle.
It's a new country.
Yeah.
Settling in, all of that.
Listen, George, he's world class to me. You might not think so, but to me, he's world class. Because you know why? When he's not there, there's a massive gap.
You feel the hole. Yeah, you feel that.
I'm going to go with Kevin. He's played the game. Listen, Graham the Jinx is in the house.
Get out of it. Is he back?
It's Sunderland versus Wigan. True Northeast Giants. I had no idea Wigan was in the Northeast. You get out of that thin and crispy league, Graham, and enjoy the game. I hope you get turned over, but have a great day. Lovely to have him with us. Great lad, by the way. Okay. Sorry, Kev. I just wanted to take your because when I watched him, I thought, wow, an absolute powerhouse. So hopefully, it's an old horrible saying, but he could be like a new signing if he's settled in.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. Yeah.
He'll be fine. God, the messages are flying in. We've got about 10 minutes to go. So this is the time. It's been such a nice show. And this is a time I dread.
Come on, let's have it.
Here we go. George, massive congratulations last week. Brazil did you proud. Get you your 2 points.
Thank you.
Well done. Just at the beginning of the season, so a nice way to start. We'll get back to normality next week with the Premier League, and that's when I'll be joining in. But for now, predictions for the Charity Shield. But Kev, we'll start with you. Leicester and Man City.
2-1 City. I just fancy City to shade this one. And you know what? It's always the curtain raiser really for the season, is it? And the teams are always not quite there. That extra week makes a difference. But
have you played in a Charity Shield, Kev?
Yeah. Played in a couple, yeah.
Is it compared to I mean, obviously it's not going to be the full hit compared to the season starts, but do players see it as a gauge to get fitness or to see where they're at?
It's still a game in pre-season. That's the way you treat it.
Okay.
Because nothing matters if whoever wins or loses in this one. Yeah, it's a trophy, just to get things started. But what matters is the first game of the season, the weekend after. That's the key. Yeah. You've got to be right for that, and you just want to get through unscathed, really, and try and win it. So
okay, George.
Well, De Bruyne and Foden are both out, injured. Mm-hmm. I think this goes to penalties, and I think City wins it on penalties.
Okay. We get a bit more football out of it if it goes to that, don't we?
Yeah.
Kev.
So what happens? Hold on.
Yeah.
So how do we rate that?
The score. How do we get the score?
So I think it.
Score after 90 minutes.
1-1, then penalties. City win it on penalties.
So 1-1.
So what about you, Pete? Come on, you're involved as well. I'm not having you in that pretty shirt and not getting involved. Come on.
2-0 City.
Okay. Lovely.
Okay, we move north of the border, Kev, to Tannadice. Dundee United, Rangers.
Yeah, I think Rangers are just too strong up there at the moment, Pete. I'm gonna go 3-1 Rangers.
Okay. George?
I've actually gone 2-0 Rangers.
Okay. 3-0 Rangers.
You've changed yours, Pete, didn't you?
I do, because I had 3-1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know.
And then you would have battered me. Copying. Brilliant. Great game today. Brazil, Spain. Kev?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good game. I think there's going to be not a lot of goals in it, although there's quality players on the pitch. Yep. I'm going to go for Brazil. I'm going to go for 1-0 Brazil.
Okay. George, see how I only said your name first there because I know you love Brazil. What you got for us?
I have the same. I have Brazil 1, Spain 0. Tight game.
Okay. I've got Brazil 2, Spain 1.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Championship. My brother-in-law's team. Saying hi to James. It's QPR Millwall. That'll be a quiet affair down Shepherd's Bush today.
Listen,
everyone holding
I'll tell you
hands.
what, there might be more helicopters than goals. I'll tell you that much. Look, I'm going to go for... I've got to go for Millwall 2-1.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't think QPR are quite there. So I'm going to go 2-1 Millwall.
They had a strong end to the season.
Yeah, listen. Millwall are one of the most underrated clubs. They perform so well given their resources. I love them. I think this is a draw, though. I think this is 2-2.
Okay.
Good game.
I'm going 2-1 QPR. Otherwise, I'd never let me in James' house again. No, I fancy QPR because they had a very strong run towards the end of last season. And they've got some exciting players, and I do fancy them today. So 2-1 to QPR for me. Okay, put this one on for you, Kev. Stoke Reading.
Big game.
Very big game. And
big game.
I'm going to go for Stoke, actually. Yep. I'm going to go 2-1 to Stoke.
That's what I've got. Jesus, wept.
That's what I've got as well.
Have you all got 2-1?
Yeah. Listen, Stoke. Listen, it's a big game because Reading are a good team. There's no doubt they had a great start last season. Stoke continue to improve. I've got it 2-1 to Stoke. Shall I change it because you guys got 2-1?
No. You got to go with what you think.
I've got 2-1 Stoke. It's going to be a good game. It's
going to be a heck of a game. As we come towards the end, just want to know what the week's play. It'll take 10 minutes for Kev to explain what he's got on this week.
Well, Pete, it's I've got the Highbury squad on. I've obviously, now that the championship is going, I'm doing some bits and pieces regarding the championship, interviews, etc., podcasts to do. I've got the last little bit of the charity foundation work to do.
You've got Germany games coming up as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got. Well, that's a bit later on in the month, and then I've got to go down to London, and then obviously the season starts next Friday. So that's my week.
It sounds like a great week, George, doesn't it? It's just full of football, similar to yours as well. What's happening in the world of our community?
There's a lot going on. Our community is aware that we're warming up for the NFT activity, whereby some top players will be selling their digital collectibles, NFTs, in the football app. We've shared that Ian Rush will be one of those.
That's right.
That's going to happen. The plan is that's going to happen in the first half of September. We've got other players following, Kanu, some other big players I can't say yet.
No problem.
But there's a lot of activity. Again, I say I'm just a part of the community. I'm just a part of the team. The guys you don't see, they do incredible work, and we're very lucky to be part of that team.
It's been an absolute blast, fellas. It's been great. Share the last code for all the guys. There you go. That's it for the weekend. Enjoy the Charity Shield. That's Geordie Pete over and out. Thanks, fellas.
Pete, you're more than welcome, and it's great to be back. George, Pete, all the best.